Welcome to the Poetry Podcast with A, an Amber Michelle's work production. In this series, The Pop-Up, our mission is to pop up in the community to connect with writers, authors, and poets. Hello, happy Thursday! I am dressed in the coziest little sweater today. This is my ugly sweater. I actually don't have a lot of ugly sweaters. This is my only one. But for December, just really stepping into the season, I wanted to wear my ugly sweater. So hopefully you have an opportunity and a chance to wear yours. I actually don't even think my ugly sweater is that ugly, except it's a little itchy, but I'm dedicated. Okay, so for this book review, this is actually such a fun month because the theme is so connected, I feel like. So previously we talked about how I launched my audiobook because it came out at the end of November. So then in the beginning of this month, I really wanted to talk about how I did that and how I got that published. So now I wanted to review a book that I listened to on audio because I don't listen to a ton of audiobooks, but I do listen to enough that I can really tell when I'm feeling it. And this is a book that I really recommend listening on audio. I'm sure it would have been such a great read just opening it up and reading it as a book. But the audiobook was fantastic. The book that we're reviewing is The Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica. I think I said that right. Her last name is spelled Kubica. So if I didn't say it right, I am very sorry, Mary, but I think that's how you say it. And this book is a psychological thriller. So for all those babies out there, those book babies who are obsessed with psychological thrillers, this is a great one. It had me captured at all times. I was never bored of it. I read it so quickly. I cleaned the house, did laundry, walked to the dog. When I was driving in my car, that's what I was listening to. I didn't even listen to music for a day. I think it took me 2 or 3 days to fully read. I'll look on my downloads to see how long the book actually was to listen to. Let's see how crazy I was. Okay. It's not quite telling me, but I think that I have it written down. It's actually rated 3.9 on Spotify, which kind of surprised by that. It's not at a 4, but I'll tell you the reasons why I would at least give it a 4. But 3.9, I mean, that's a 4, right? Who really cares about that last little point, but I'm sure Mary would really like that to be a 4. So when you read it, bump that baby up. I gave it all stars, but I was really surprised in this book. I didn't see the ending coming, and it was fun. Okay, so what this book is about, it really goes deep. It dives deep into the secrets of these two married couples. And what was really unique about the way it was written and the way that the chapters were read out loud was that one chapter was a man in a marriage, and then the next chapter was a woman in a marriage. And they were different marriages. One was Christian and Lily, and the other one was Nina and Jake. So Christian, it was his full thoughts, and then in the next chapter, it would be Nina's thoughts. And what was interesting to me about that was they weren't really the main characters. There is 4 main characters. I would say it's all those 4 people that I just listed, but the mystery isn't around Christian and Nina. The mystery is around Lily and Jake. So it's being told by their spouses. And that's really why this is so captivating, because you don't know the full truth of that mystery person's mind. And you get to see it play out through their partners, which was just really fun. And I really recommend listening to this because I thought the characters' voices were very compelling. And it was recorded very professionally. I mean, most audiobooks are, but this one they really got into character. I was like, oh yes, like my favorite voice was Lily's voice. Just the soft and sweet and innocent little voice. And the novel really just centers around this mysterious disappearance of this person, Jake, but then also this person, Lily. So very interesting that they just all kind of get entangled in this investigation, and they're just trying to cover up their own involvements and to just protect their seemingly perfect lives. But no one's perfect. So yeah, I recommend it for the psychological babies out there. The book babies. I don't know why I'm saying that, but it's really fun. Book babies, if you are a psychological thriller reader, The Nicest Couple on audio is for you. So why choose an audiobook? I would say the best reason to choose an audiobook over a physical book is because you can be active. You can be bettering your life while consuming the book. And how fun is that? How amazing is that? Like, for real, I was doing my laundry. I was cleaning my house. I would be driving to a yoga class while consuming this book. And I think more people need to give audiobooks a real shot, because if you're listening to music or a podcast, you should be able to listen to an audiobook. I know, especially one that's so engaging like this one, where like the audio is such an art form. It's an art form. Being like a voice actor, you can really just let yourself kind of fall into the inflections that are happening. It's very captivating. The story is playing out in your mind. You can really dive into it. So I think in January, I'm going to be setting a lot of goals around audiobooks. But the thing that I struggle with is I have premium on Spotify and I only get so many hours. So I really need to account for buying the audiobook themselves, even though I know they're not that expensive. But I hate when this happens, when you're in the middle of a book on Spotify and it times out on you. And you have to wait like 21 days until you can re-listen to it. So annoying, but it happens to me quite often because right before this book, I was listening to another one, and then I started another one right after, and then it cut out on me. So you really can go through a lot of hours, but let's just do a little quick research. How many hours is it to listen to the book? Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica. Okay, so it's approximately 8 hours and 28 minutes. So that makes sense that it took me like 2 full days, because also when I was listening to this book, I wasn't feeling that well. So I was like laying down a lot and consuming it too, and then laundry and all those things. So it's just a really good option if you are not in the mood to, or if you're not in the mood to physically read a book, try listening to that book. Sometimes if you don't want to DNR, did not finish, DNF, isn't that what it is? DNR. I'm the worst with acronyms. I'm sorry. Just whatever that acronym is, when people are like, the bookstagrammers are like, I didn't finish this book. I think it's DNF. It's DNF, not DNR. DNF. If you don't want to DNF a book and you're like halfway through and reading it, just try it on audio. Get through it on audio. That's a little pro tip that I've done before. I definitely have done that before. So I'm not going to tell you which book I did it on, though. If you really want to know, you can DM me and I'll tell you. But I'll give a clue of it wasn't like my top rated read. I was struggling reading it at points. So if you've listened to this podcast, you'll know. I did listen to some of that one on audio to get through it. And I was traveling. So I was in the car like for 8 hours, and I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this book because it's hard for me to read and I just want to get through it. So there's a lot of reasons why you should go audio and instead of having the physical copy. I also think it's good to kind of switch it up. Read a physical book, read a few physical books, then switch to an audio. I don't think I could solely go audio and never read a book, because there is something that's just super cozy and nice about curling up at night and reading your book. It really helps me sleep, is reading a book. Actually, it depends on the book, and how tired I am. But sometimes if you're in a zone when the book is so freaking good and you're reading it and you can't shut it down, then you can't sleep. Then I'm like, okay, hubby, I am going to shut off the lights and go downstairs to finish this book because I am not going to bed until I'm done with it. I've done that before. But for the most part, it just feels good to read before bed because it kind of sets the tone of like, I don't know, it's just kind of like when you're a child, when your mom reads to you before bed. Like that's definitely something I do with my child, is reading the book before bed. It's a good nighttime ritual. So don't just go full on audiobook. I mean, if that's what you have to do to just read a freaking book, then do it for sure. But if you're already a reader and then switching into audio, don't give up the full reading experience. You have to still listen to your audiobook. You know what I mean? And especially, I've listened to so many different types of audiobooks. I have loved memoirs. I think memoirs are really good to read, or to listen to instead of read, because it's usually that person's voice. Alicia Keys' memoir was so beautiful. It used to be like my number one book that I'd recommend for people to listen to, and I still do. It was called Alicia Keys' book. More Myself, A Journey, is a memoir published in 2020. It was just a really deeply personal book by Alicia, and that was a great listen because her voice is so soothing and so genuine. And she also had multiple famous people start a chapter reading off a quote, which was unexpected and fun. So that's another one of my favorite audiobooks that I would recommend reading literally at any time. There was also another one, I think it was called I'm Happy My Mom Died. I want to make sure. It was another memoir. I'm Happy My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. That was the last name that I couldn't get a hold of. Yeah, that was another memoir that I read. She was like a Nickelodeon star, and she kind of explores this complicated relationship with her mother and like this eating disorder she had. So it was read by her as well, which if you watched iCarly growing up, then you definitely know what I'm talking about and who this person is. And it was fun to listen to her voice. So like anyone that's famous that has a memoir, I always think it's fun to listen to. But the psychological thrillers for those book babies that love them, or for those people who listen to those murder mystery podcasts, The Nicest Couple is definitely a good audiobook for you. So I highly recommend it. I would love to hear your thoughts if you listen to it, especially that ending at the very end. Ooh. I am curious if it surprised you, if you guessed it. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because it really surprised me. It didn't even occur to me that this person would be the person to go to jail. So yeah, I'm excited to hear from you about the audiobook that I'm recommending for you to listen to, especially this time. Like, you're cozy. I've said cozy 3 times now, but that's okay because we're in cozy season. But when you're in the house and it's cold and you're doing things a lot inside, an audiobook is another good reason. Or if you're traveling, a lot of people travel around the holidays. So test this one out. This is a good one to see if it hits or if it doesn't. Okay. So let me know. I'm excited. And of course, I always shout out our guest on these episodes of who we are going to interview next Thursday. And this person is someone that I'm so excited for me to introduce to you guys, but you probably already know her, especially if you're Kansas City local. She is a bookstagrammer, I would say. She also does book reviews, which is why this month just feels so aligned, because I talked about publishing my audiobook, and now I am reviewing an audiobook or a book that I listened to on audio. And then I'm interviewing a book reviewer that is a local influencer in our community. She is so sweet. I've met her originally on Zoom and then in person at a book festival, of course. And I'm excited to dive into all about her processes and how she kind of got to where she is, because she is very successful in her book reviews. So that'll just be such a fun conversation. She seriously is the sweetest person as well. So one thing that got her start was the Book Bowl challenge. So if you know who I'm talking about, this is the original Book Bowl challenge girl. Her name is Rachel. I don't know if she wants me to say her last name because I noticed on social media she just goes by Rachel. So I'm just going to call her Rachel instead of saying her last name. But she might also tell us her last name in our interview next Thursday. Who knows? So we will just see. If she wants to introduce her full name, she can, but I'll keep that as a surprise for next week. And the thing that was really cool about Rachel was she started this book bowl challenge in the beginning of a new year. So she crafted a goal for herself where she has this big fishbowl and she put 500 books inside of it, like little mini books she like crafted, and she would pull out a book to read it, and it was just kind of a fun surprise. It was a book of all different kinds: poetry, fiction, nonfiction, classics, all different types. So every single time that she was pulling out a book, it was something new, and then she would review it and let her listeners know, and it popped off. She has like 30,000 followers and really good engagement from it. So she obviously was doing something right when she was crafting this idea, but it's kind of cool because she wasn't trying to pop off. She was trying to genuinely challenge herself, and people were just interested in that. And I mean, I'm interested in that. I think she has great reviews. There's been a couple books that she's reviewed that made me want to read them. And I'm excited for everyone to like get to know this person even more, like kind of behind the scenes of a bookstagrammer, because we all know how popular bookstagrammers are right now on the internet, but you don't really have a full moment to dive in for an hour and talk to them in depth to get to know a reader behind the scenes. And I know I really reserve the pop-up episodes for authors and writers and poets, but I'm switching it up this month. You know, we don't always have to be by the book, so to say. We can switch it up, and this is a good switch up. This is a really fun one, and I cannot wait for you to hear more from her and what it all takes to commit to a challenge and successfully do this type of challenge. And something that's really fun is we are going to do a book bowl challenge together. So we're going to pick a book out of the bowl on the episode and then read it together. And then she'll come back on this series, the book review series, to review the book. So she'll be on the episode or on this season twice, which is super fun. And so in the future, we'll have a guest not only on the pop-up series, but on this book review series. And yeah, it'll be so fun. I can't wait. I think that's it for this book review. Let me know if you have any other audiobook recommendations. I would love to take them and put them on my list. But other than that, tune in for next Thursday while we get a deeper insight on the Bookstagrammer Book Bowl Challenge girl named Rachel. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Leave me a review on your favorite listening channel, Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. Always with love, A.